Welcome to this new episode of Books Know Better, Life Lessons from Books. On today's video, we will find how to be true to yourself according to the famous Victorian novel Jane Eyre, written by Charlotte Brontë. Charlotte Brontë was an English novelist and poet born in 1816. One of the 6 children in the Brontë family, all died prematurely. Charlotte and other 2 of her sisters had a real passion for writing. They published their poems under pseudonym, as, in the Victorian era, it was inappropriate for a woman to have writing aspirations. Writing was allowed for letters and for tea invitations, and for men, of course. The Victorian era in British history is the period of time between 1820 and 1914 and takes its name from the Queen Victoria that reigned from 1837 to 1901. It was a thriving era for the British Kingdom, economically and culturally, but along with the differences on social classes, the gender inequality was extremely strong. Shortly, the role of a woman was to run the house, and then to marry someone and to run the house. John Ruskin in Sesame and Lilies explains it more poetically. Quote, "The woman's power is for rule, not for battle, and her intellect is not for invention or creation, but for sweet ordering, arrangement and decision. She must be enduringly, incorruptibly good, instinctively, infallibly wise, not for self-development, but for self-renunciation, wise, not that she may set herself above her husband, but that she may never fail from his side." End quote. To follow her dream, Charlotte Brontë had to stand to these unfair rules, so she published her books with the pen name Currer Bell. However, she used her writing talent to courageously criticize women discrimination and the entire Victorian society. Regarding the book and the mystery of its author, in 1848 The Indicator wrote, "We doubt not it will soon cease to be a secret, but on one assertion we are willing to risk our critical reputation, and that is, that no woman wrote it. This was our decided conviction at the first perusal, and a somewhat careful study of the work has strengthened it. No woman in all the annals of feminine celebrity ever wrote such a style, terse yet eloquent and filled with energy bordering sometimes almost on rudeness. No woman ever conceived such masculine characters as those portrayed here." However, Jane Eyre quickly became a famous novel and now is one of the most known romance novels. Also called the Gothic novel, Jane Eyre is considered an autobiographical book. The original title was Jane Eyre, an autobiography. Written in a first-person narrative, the story helps the reader to truly identify with the main character. The story of Jane Eyre is a sorrowful one. She's an orphan, raised by her awful relatives that make her life a hell. Mistreated, ignored and unwanted, Jane is sent to a charity school in order to fix her deceitful behavior. Life gets even harder in the institute, where punishment, humiliations and psychological abuse are the only educational tools regularly used on the scholars. Despite all, after 6 endless years as a student and 2 as a teacher in the same institute, Jane survives. She decides to leave and start a new career as a governess in a private mansion. Other challenges and difficulties expect Jane in her journey to adulthood, yet she never ever breaks her unshakable principles and values. Quote, "I can live alone if self-respect and circumstances require me so to do. I need not sell my soul to buy bliss. I have an inward treasure born with me, which can keep me alive if all extraneous delights will be withheld or offered only at a price I cannot afford to give." End quote. Jane Eyre has an inward treasure that keeps her alive no matter what, so let's find out how she managed to always be true to herself. But first, let's see what being true to yourself means. The Cambridge Dictionary offers this definition. Quote, "True to yourself, behaving according to your beliefs and doing what you think is right." End quote. So let's find out 5 ways to be true to yourself according to Jane Eyre. Number 1. Know yourself and value it. Knowing yourself is the first step for being true to yourself. Jane always knew it. She cultivates and grows what she really is despite society, adversities, and even feelings. She knows herself and she cares for herself, outspeaking with courage on defending her values. In fact, her self-respect is the key for her mental independence. Quote, "I care for myself. The more solitary, the more friendless, the more unsustained I am, the more I will respect myself." End quote. Number 2. Always follow your principles. Once you know yourself and your values, always act accordingly. More than once, Jane has the opportunity to improve her situation by acting in a way or another. Still, the easiest way doesn't seem the right way too. She chooses the hard way rather than betraying her principles, and she's always ready to face consequences of her choice. Quote, "Laws and principles are not for the times when there is no temptation. They are for such moments as this, when body and soul rise in mutiny against their rigor. Stringent they are, inviolate they shall be. If, at my individual convenience, I might break them, what would be their worth?" End quote. Number 3. Speak your mind. Always speak out for yourself and for what you believe in. Jane Eyre has nobody she can rely on. She's a poor girl in a society where being a woman is a guilt and her possibilities are limited to predisposed paths. Yet, she fights for herself. She faces her adversaries even if they are much stronger than herself. Quote, "Women are supposed to be very calm generally, but women feel just as men feel. They need exercise for their faculties and a field for their efforts as much as their brothers do." End quote. Number 4. Be brave. Seek for the real knowledge of life amidst its perils. Jane Eyre is a real example of courage, as she never steps back from her convictions. She even goes against her old feelings and desires in order to firmly hold on her true values and on what she knows to be right. Furthermore, in doing so, Jane finds an unexpected inner strength that helps her to deal with the consequences of her choices. Quote, "I remembered that the real world was wide, and that a varied field of hopes and fears, of sensations and excitements awaited those who had the courage to go forth into its expanse, to seek real knowledge of life amidst its perils." End quote. Number 5. Be positive. Never lose hope. Despite all the adversities in her life, Jane never complains. She always tries to find the good side of the situation and keeps her mind open in a positive attitude towards life and people. Part of her positivity comes from the self-awareness of doing her best to be always true to herself, so always in peace with her inner self. Quote, "Even for me, life had its gleams of sunshine." End quote. Know yourself. Always follow your principles. Speak for yourself. Be courageous and never lose hope. are the 5 lessons for being true to yourself, according to the novel Jane Eyre, written by Charlotte Brontë. If you liked the video and you're interested in similar topics, please subscribe for further content. You're welcome to comment and to share the video. Thank you for watching.